Geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new edition of Geek to Me Radio, episode 252. Today we'll be talking with Mike Davenport, the person who is behind the Marvel Universe Online, what it's all about, where he's going with it, and more. Stand by. We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. And for those of you finding us for the very first time, welcome to Geek to Me Radio. I'm your host, James Enstall. Each week we try to bring you someone new in the field of pop culture, be it movie, TVs, comics, video games, whatever it may be, and someone who you'll hopefully find as interesting as I do when I get to speak to these people. Today we're talking with a special guest who I've been mutuals with on Twitter for quite a while, and we thought it was high time we sit down and kind of talk about his project. Right now we're talking with Mike Davenport, a very fascinating project that I love keeping up with on social media, the Marvel Universe Online. And you might think, okay, Marvel Universe, that's, we know what that is, but you probably don't, which is why Mike loves the question. Mike, what is the Marvel Universe Online?
There it is. That's the question. What is the Marvel Universe Online? You're right. I absolutely love this question. The reason for that is because the title Marvel Universe Online is actually not a new one. Originally, the Marvel Universe Online started off as a project between Microsoft and Marvel, and they had sought out a developer, Cryptic Studios at the time, to create a Marvel MMO with the title The Marvel Universe Online. Well, I happened to find out exactly a little bit of insight on what actually happened to the original Marvel Universe Online by talking to the head of Cryptic Studios at the time, Jack Emmert. Now, Jack Emmert, if there are some superhero MMO fans out there, they'll know that Jack Emmert created the original superhero MMO, City of Heroes.
Yeah.
So, everybody knows City of Heroes. And I'm sure a lot of people who know City of Heroes knew about the legal dispute early on in the game's release that they had with Marvel. Well, if they don't, the basics behind that was Marvel had claimed that it was too easy for players to recreate copywritten characters in the City of Heroes, which was absolutely true.
Okay.
It was absolutely true. You could make nearly spot-on replications of Marvel and DC characters in the game. The character created was that robust. So Marvel sued NCSoft, the publisher of City of Heroes, but they lost. The reason why they lost was that the examples that they used were examples created by Marvel representatives in the game.
Ah.
They had planted players in the game to create these characters, and that came, it was discovered that that's what they did, and Marvel wanted to lose the lawsuit. So, a lot of the reason behind the lawsuit initially was to kind of slow down the momentum the game had at the time, because Marvel was planning down the road of creating their own superhero MMO in the same vein. So after sometime after City of Heroes sunsetted, Marvel and Microsoft got together, talked to the guy, Jack Emmert, and he's currently working on moving on to a new project. He was leaving Cryptic. So they want to keep him on. They want to keep Cryptic and him on because, his familiarity with that whole genre. So he and Cryptic Studios got together, created some, they did a vertical slice of this game that they were going to use for Marvel. Well, it turns out Microsoft, they weren't too keen on what he had presented. So ultimately, the Marvel Universe Online kind of, when Microsoft backed out, it was pretty much done. So the name disappeared for a while, and Jack Emmert took those assets that he had created for his Marvel Universe Online game, and that eventually became a new MMO called Champions Online.
Okay.
So, yes. So there's some familiarity. Matter of fact, there's a zone in Champions called Lemuria. That is an exact takeaway from the original project. So yeah, those assets got migrated to Champions Online. And eventually, Jack Emmert went on to head games like Star Trek Online, which he currently runs right now. And now he actually runs DC Universe Online.
Okay. So same concept, just different company. He's DC now instead of Marvel.
Yes.
So what was the problem then? So DC obviously made it work. Why couldn't he get things going with Marvel?
I think it was timing mostly. Yeah. I think at the time, World of Warcraft was the juggernaut in growth. So everyone was looking for a World of Warcraft, but with superheroes. And I just think the timing was wrong. DC hit at a time where Marvel wasn't exactly looking at investing in a large project like that after the original Marvel Universe Online didn't work out. So they were looking for small projects after that. So eventually, Marvel Universe turned into, they found Gazillion, they brought Gazillion on board to originally do the kiddie version of an MMO, Marvel Hero Squad, with the contract in place to eventually move on to create Marvel Heroes.
So I guess my initial question, and some other might be wondering, you're heading up this project, Marvel Universe Online. How have you come to be affiliated with it, and how hasn't Marvel kind of told you, hey, knock it off, we already got plans for this?
Well, simple. Here's the thing. The Marvel Universe Online name is, after a certain amount of years, it's just out there. So I picked up the domain name, Marvel Universe Online, and I rolled with it.
Okay.
So me and a few guys, after playing City of Heroes for a lot of years, it started out just basically throwing around ideas. So I started collecting those ideas and started, building it into a plan, a rough idea of what a game like that would look like. Since we all knew, everyone was excited for the idea of a Marvel Universe Online back when it was first announced, way back years ago.
Yeah.
So all those ideas got put into a pot. I started working on them, doing a little bit of research here and there. My friends started throwing in more ideas, and we started culminating everything into, we put together a Facebook page of all those ideas. So you can still go to that Facebook page and still see all the rough concepts from like 5 years ago. And I said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, you're right. We don't have a license per se to do anything official, but we would like to get out there and see if the idea of a Marvel Universe Online game is still a popular one. So we couldn't do that without actually defining what that is. So that's what we wound up doing. We say, hey, no guarantees. Let's, clean it up. Just do a little more research on the gaming side. Find out exactly the ins and outs of the industry, both the comic industry and the gaming industry, to put together a concept that fans could look at and say, yeah, this is something that we could get behind.
And to follow you on social media, you've got different posts. Like I just commented on your one the other day because I'm a huge fan of Juggernaut, and you had the entry, and it looks almost like like an entry right out of the official handbook book of the Marvel Universe. And you've actually commissioned artists to work on some of these character things and everything. So talk a little bit about commissioning the artists to do the work you guys have for the art itself. We're going to pause right there. We'll come right back, chat more with Mike Davenport about the Marvel Universe Online. Please stand by.
Hi, this is Kathy Garber, the voice of Firestar, and you are listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to Geek to Me Radio. Talking with Mike Davenport all about the Marvel Universe Online. And before we took that last break, we asked him about commissioning artists for the concept art for his project.
So to get, because things started to grow so quickly. And I say quickly, it's been about 5 years since we all sat down. Things started to grow so quickly, we had to figure out, we wanted to make it look professional. That was number one. We didn't have the funds to make it look professional. So we had to figure out a way of getting artists on board to help us, in areas that we lacked, I do a lot of the writing. I don't do all of it, but I do a lot of it. I've got concept contributors that kind of help me guide this whole thing. But the professional pieces of it, that's the stuff we had to finish on. So I came up with the idea, and we can't ask for money for this officially. We don't have a license. We can't say, hey, we're making a Marvel game, give us money. But what we can do is to keep things looking professional, we can go out to the comic community and we can commission artists, non-professional artists, within the community itself, and we can be that point of requesting, we request money to commission these artists, and they design these characters for our project. Now, 100% of our funding goes directly from those that contribute to those artists. And the handbook is our way of promoting them, So, we're all, helping them help us help them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And obviously then the handbook entries kind of serve as character bios and power sheets for working in the game.
Exactly. We have two versions. The idea is two versions of the handbook. A community version of the handbook is where, each entry is a different artist, and they put their own little design spins on how those characters are supposed to look or how they want to look based upon their art style. So when we get to a point where we start actually having a Marvel Universe Online style character design, then we'll start getting a pretty standardized list of characters, and that will be part of the game edition. So this is the fun part. The handbook plays a huge role in the concept of the game itself. So, like I said, it serves the purpose of this. The community version serves the purpose of promoting artists. The game version would, at some point, not only be a fact sheet for NPC characters, but it also serves as the character creation tool for the game itself.
And I know you've mentioned on social media before that you've obviously you've got a Patreon. People are helping out there, like they love the idea, they're contributing to this, and then you're using that money, as you said, to pay artists. A couple of times you said you've had trouble getting artists. You've approached some people and say, hey, we'd love to pay you for this. Do you think that's just from they don't want to get in trouble in case, Marvel might come, or are they just too busy? What's been the biggest issue?
I've had right now our budget is an issue, but not really as much of an issue for commissioning single character. I mean, we have the budget for that. But a lot of the issues that I've run into are people are leery, some artists are leery of doing work for quote unquote fan projects.
Okay.
I mean, I've never had anybody say that they're worried about Marvel. Nobody's worried about Marvel because basically, like I said, we keep track of all of our funds and we keep financial records of all that. So all those funds, it's just cyclical. They come into us, we pay them, we keep a record of it. So yeah, it's difficult to find artists who want to work on a non-professional basis. And I guess it's tough for us in some cases that, we can't accept everyone. So I have to be somewhat discerning.
Sure.
Because I have to get as much for every dollar that I spend of our patrons' money. I have to get as much bang for their buck as possible. So yeah, we're going out to the community looking for artists, but we also have to make sure those artists can generate the enthusiasm that we're looking for.
And some of the stuff, obviously, there's varying degrees of artists and everything. That's why you have to be somewhat discerning. But talk a little bit about, because I know you've also, in addition to just characters, you've designed landscapes. Doomstadt, for example, is one of the ones. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back chatting more with Mike Davenport. Please stand by.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio, man. This is the only radio show that the guy does Batman Beyond listens to for his geek news.
Welcome back to Geek to Me Radio. I just realized as I introed this, I said hello to all of our new listeners who might be finding us for the first time. Hello to all of my regular listeners. Thank you all for tuning in each week, being part of the show and listening, and hopefully you're downloading it, you've subscribed, wherever you get your podcasts from. And just to give you a reminder, we do a live radio show on Sunday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on the Big 550 KTRS in the St. Louis area. If you're not in the greater St. Louis area, you can stream it from anywhere in the world. Go to ktrs.com/stream and you can tune in live. We take live calls just like a normal radio show would. So be sure to check that out as well. Want to mention our movie sponsor, Marcus Theaters and Movie Tavern, for the best movie-going experience in the galaxy. A lot of stuff going on right now. Candyman, the new Candyman is out. Paw Patrol, the movie, Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. The Night House, the Jungle Cruise movie is still out with The Rock and Emily Blunt. Don't Breathe 2, which the first one was incredibly suspenseful. I can only imagine if they've upped the game in the second one, and based on the preview they have. But lots of great movies are out right now, and they have special things going on at Marcus all the time. Their Harry Potter Magical Movie Showcase, August 29th, 30th, and September 1st. Labor Day weekend, you can see also on, I should say, September 3rd through the 6th, that weekend as well. You can get a passport to see all of the Harry Potter movies with the anniversary coming up since, I can't believe it's been that long since the first movie's been out. For the rest of the month of August, too, free popcorn. Just free complimentary popcorn for the month of August when you see a movie. And you should become a member of the Magical Movie Rewards Club. If you get that, it's free to join. You get rewarded for seeing movies, so you can bank points towards snack purchases, free movie tickets, whatever you want to spend it on. And download the Marcus Theaters app. I'm looking at that on my smartphone right now. You can find the movie closest to you. You can get tickets. You can order your concessions so they're ready and waiting for you when you get there. It's never a bad time to go see a movie. If it's a hot day outside, you want to get in someplace cool. Later on, as we start to get into fall, it was raining here earlier. So if it's raining out, you might as well go see a movie while it's raining. And of course, in the winter, you want one of those theaters with the heated seats so you can get in there and get out of the cold, watch a movie. But I'm a movie guy. So for me, there's never a bad time to see a movie. And the best place to see those movies is always at Marcus Theaters and Movie Tavern. Check out the website, marcustheaters.com, to find your show times and get more information. As we said, the best movie-going experience in the galaxy. Right before we took that last break, we were chatting, as we are for the rest of this hour, with Mike Davenport about his project, The Marvel Universe Online. And we'd asked him about designing the landscapes and the backdrops and all these places you can interact with for this game.
Oh, yes. The mantra is every place in the Marvel Universe will be a playable location. That is a very huge statement in and of itself. So the first place I really was excited about was Doomstock. And that was one of the places where I wanted to get a concept art laid out first. Now, concept art is a whole different animal from character art.
Right.
So, unfortunately, that concept art is very expensive. So, the concept art only happens maybe once every few months. But when it does, like I said, we have to get the most bang for our buck. But Doomstock was one of my favorites, and it took me months to find the right artist to do it. And Doomstock and New York City are going to be what we call the two large hub zones. Now, the rest of the Marvel Universe, every other location will be a medium or small zone, but New York and Doomstock will play off of one another. If you remember City of Heroes had, Paragon City, and the villains had their own location in the Rogue Isles. Basically that same concept. So we wanted to get rolling on Doomstock first because I'm a big fan of villains.
Right. And of course, then I guess like New York, the grand scale, you'd have smaller areas like the Daily Bugle building or things like that.
Exactly. Think Spider-Man PS4's New York City, but with a multitude of different buildings that you can access.
For Freedom's Plaza and things like that.
All of them, because there were a lot of locations in that game that they couldn't utilize. And we basically wanted to go off of what was in the original handbook as far as the map of New York City and all the famous locations. So we had to have a lot of those locations had to have functionality. So we went through, and a lot of the famous locations will serve as, like, for example, there are embassies. So in New York City, every large zone, large or medium zone will have an embassy location. And those embassy locations act as fast travel points. So you go to an embassy and you can go to a different zone. So New York City will have embassies for Wakanda, embassies for Doomstock, embassies for Atlantis. And you can simply go in there, find a little, go to a different embassy, and, there'll be, a little bit of history of that zone that you're going to, that you can look around, see comics on the wall or whatnot, and you can fast travel. So a lot of things like that. A lot of activity that's going on in those large zones. And the two large zones act like they're the real open world zones.
And then if you're playing as Silver Sable, you could go to the Symkarian embassy and it fast track you right there.
It'll fast track you right there. Now, Symkaria, I'll give you a little secret. We haven't done Symkaria yet, but Symkaria has we've already started working on the narrative for Symkaria, and it'll be what's called a rescue zone. So the country's war torn, blah, blah, blah. Heroes try to save people. Villains try to, stop them. And, like I said, that zone will be specific for that activity. Whereas New York and Liberia are open world zones. Stuff is happening out in the open world. That's where most players start off at.
So the end goal, obviously, this is all the stuff you're working on. Marvel owns the rights to all the characters and the locations and things like that. So the end goal is this to get it to a point where Marvel, in my mind, I think that would be the ideal situation. Marvel goes, hey, great job. This looks brilliant. We're just going to pick it up because you've done all the work for us. Here's $500,000. Thanks a lot.
I don't need, and here's the thing. I don't even need it. This whole project was never intended as a money-making venture.
But
you can believe it. But yes. But you're right. Yeah, true. But honestly, I don't need money. I know that sounds kind of facetious, but I don't. And I do this, and the people who I work with do this for the passion of it. You know, we all have day jobs. You know, we all do this in our spare time. So, you know, we really do it for the belief that this should be a thing. And we hope that we can get enough people to agree that this should be a thing. And the best way for us to do that is to show them what that thing could look like.
And if you had to say, obviously, you're always wanting to tweak things and make things better, but if you had to say, in general, percentage-wise, from 0 being we have a concept to 100% being complete, ready to launch, where would you say percentage-wise you are in the process in your own mind?
We are not even there where Jack Emmert was when he presented to Marvel and Microsoft.
Wow. Okay. So still lots to do.
I mean, really, I want to get the project. I would call a project complete when we've covered, you know, the broad strokes of all of the features that we believe should be in the game. We don't want to dig too much into the minutia because that's not what we're trying to do. There are smarter people than us that can work out the minutiae, but we want to design it in a way that those smart people can say, yeah, that'll work, or no, that won't work. But we want to get to a point where the smart people that know this stuff more than we do, the details, the game designers and developers, they can look at it and say, yeah, that'll work. And I try to get the project shifted slowly but surely over to where we're talking more with the developers or with, you know, developers as well, because I want to get smarter there too. And that's a speaking point for me. I mean, earlier on we had some good input from folks from CryEngine talked to us early on, you know, when I inquired about a few questions about, you know, this, you know, a project of that size, how would a CryEngine be involved in something like that? And they helped us out quite a bit in our understanding.
And with characters you've already done, I love seeing the concept art that you guys put out, obviously. And by the way, if you're not already following Mike on Twitter, you definitely should be, because the stuff that he puts out, the concept art and the character pages are just a lot of fun just to look at. I mean, you think about this stuff coming down the road, but just reading some of the stuff and seeing some of the visuals is great. What are some characters that, because you mentioned you've had to turn people down, you want to kind of hang on to some stuff because you want these people to really get, like you said, the bang for their buck. So who are some characters who you'd love to start working on, but you're waiting for that perfect artist to take it on? We're going to pause right there, take another quick break, and come back chatting more with Mike Davenport about the Marvel Universe Online. Stand by.
Hi, this is Karan Soni, and you're listening to me on Geek to Me Radio. Lucky you.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
And we're back for our final segment here on Geek to Me Radio. And as it's the final segment, I should take this time to let you know about our premier sponsor, the City of St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. They have been with me since the very beginning. It's hard to believe 5 years now that I've been doing this show, Geek to Me Radio, as it stands right now. It's been something that I've always wanted to do, and the support of the City of St. Charles and the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau has been instrumental in allowing me to continue to do this. So what I'd love for you to do is start with the website. Go check out the website, which is discoverstcharles.com. That's discoverstcharles.com. See all the stuff there is to see, all the things there are to do in this great place. If you're in the Greater St. Louis/St. Charles area, what are you waiting for? It's right across the bridge, or if you're in St. Charles, it's right there. A great place to visit. There's always something going on, which is one of the things I love, that you'll always go down there and something is happening. They've got a great nightlife area in North Main, like quintessential if you kind of want to get out and be a little more upscale. It has some specialty cocktails and just kind of enjoy that kind of setting. If you're kind of wanting to take a little step back, South Main is probably what you'll want to go see. Have some blueberry cobbler at Magpies. There's literally everything to do you could want to do up and down that entire section. But the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau can help you with that if you're wanting to plan a trip also. Maybe you're from out of town. Maybe you want to come someplace new, check out. Maybe that's on your list to do in 2021. Hey, let's go someplace we haven't gone before. City of St. Charles has everything you could want. A lot of stuff to do for all ages. It's a great time to visit St. Charles because there's never a bad time to visit St. Charles. Start at the website. Like I said, that's your key, your entryway to kind of see what there is. DiscoverStCharles.com. Very proud to have them as our premier sponsor and for all of their continued support. And as we always say, it's an historically good time. Before we took that last break, we were wrapping up our chat with Mike Davenport, and we talked about which Marvel characters are kind of being held back for just the right artist as he kind of commissions these out and kind of grows the Marvel Universe online.
Oh man, I have an entry right now. We finished the first volume of the community edition. It's on the website. People can go through it and read through the first dozen or so characters that we put in there. The next volume, I've already got about half a dozen characters written up, and I am looking forward to the most the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, that's a big one, literally.
That's a big one, literally. Yeah, literally. And we are going to go, that character is going to be the centerpiece of the next volume. Because, what folks need to understand is, if they go and read the entries in the handbook, every entry in the handbook is a little bit of lore of the overall tapestry of our Earth 619. So it's from each character's perspective of what went on during the events that created this game world.
And with, obviously, you think about the art for some of these characters, certain artists, I've always said this, when you think of a character, you think of a certain artist rendition. For me, Ron Lim is the definitive Silver Surfer artist.
Yes.
Mark Bagley on Spider-Man. With Hulk, I always think of Dale Keown art. I love his art. There's a lot of other great artists who've also taken on the Hulk, but when you're getting submissions from artists, you kind of look at them and like, you know what, the style you've got kind of reminds me of this artist. Let's see how you handle this. How does the submission process go for artists, and how do they end up getting put on certain characters?
Well, I would love to be able to say that, we get people coming in all the time, requesting to do entries in a handbook, So I go out and I scour, I go to a couple of the more well-known art sites, and I basically look for artists who I think would be a good fit for us. I look at their art style and I think to myself, what character would best suit them, and I approach them, basically. Either I or one of us approaches an artist and say, hey, listen, this is what our budget is, this is what we want to do, and hopefully they say yes. A lot, like I said, it's a matter of looking at the artist, his style, and how best it works with us. And a lot of times I have artists that I like so much, I bring them back. So we have artists that have done several entries in the handbook already. Or we do multiple artists on a single entry in different, multiple images for a single entry. Because we want, we got more than one artist that is just right for this particular character.
The Marvel Universe Online. Tell people too, just maybe someone's hearing this and this is the first they're hearing about this project. Tell people, where they can find you and contact you on Twitter. Maybe they want to submit some art projects, and where they can find out more about the project itself online.
I am always, and I do mean this, I am always on Twitter at Marvel_MMO. I am also always on Facebook at our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/MUOMMO. Marvel Universe Online is also on Instagram. But if you want to go out to the website and see what it's all about, that's www.themarveluniverseonline.com.
The Marvel Universe Online. So make sure you get the in there when you're typing the website in.
The Marvel Universe, yes, themarveluniverseonline.com. You do a Google search. We're the second one down.
That's impressive alone. Just the fact that you're ranking that high with a Marvel in your title on the website.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, I like to say it was kind of fate that, when we originally decided that we were going to move from the Facebook page onto our own website, I went out and found that the Marvel Universe Online domain was available, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, snatched it up.
Absolutely.
And now we're the second search if you're on Google.
So if you hang on to it long enough, just the website alone is going to get you the 500,000, and you can get another 500,000 for all the concept work you guys have done.
There you go. we have some pretty exciting stuff coming down the pipe in the next couple of weeks. So I hope folks check us out on Twitter or come on over to the Patreon page and check out because basically, you see a lot of the stuff that's out there now, it's available for you to view. And if you become a patron, you get to see all that stuff early.
Very nice. And just patreon.com/the Marvel Universe online, or is it Marvel-MMO?
It is patreon.com/MUOMMO.
MUOMMO. Perfect. This has been fascinating to hear about because, like I said, we follow each other on Twitter, but I've never really delved into it this deeply with you before. So thank you for answering my questions. And like I said, if anyone listening, reach out because he is correct. He's always on Twitter, which I don't know how you find the time to sleep and do everything else you're doing with all your social media stuff, but it's very impressive regardless which way you're looking at it.
It is like I say, I guess when it's a passion, it doesn't feel like work.
That's very true. Very true. Mike Davenport, thanks so much for your time.
Hey, anytime, man. Anytime. Hey, and keep a lookout for us.
Absolutely. That's going to do it. Another show in the books. Thanks again to Mike Davenport. Make sure you check out the Marvel Universe online at the places he said to check them out. We'll put links in the show notes here as well. It's always a great time to talk to someone who has these great ideas and great projects like this. And hopefully I'll hear from you. Like I said, we have a live radio show on Sunday nights. Feel free to give us a call during one of those live shows. And this coming Sunday, we've got a great show for you, as we do every Sunday. So make sure you check out the live show. In addition, make sure you're subscribing to our show so you get all the online content on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us there as well on those social media platforms. And until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch I zombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young Arts. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, Doomstot. Good night.
Hey kids, are your parents about to buy you a shiny new toy from Amazon?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Well, don't be selfish. Share some of that money with us. Before going on Amazon, make sure to type in bit.ly/geek2me in the web browser. It will look just like Amazon.com, except it'll say referral Geek to Me Radio up top. And then when you check out, a tiny percentage will go to support the show without costing you 1 cent more. So before your parents get you that gizmo, gadget, or widget, make sure they type in bit.ly/geek2me in the web browser.
Bit.ly/geek2me. Bit.ly/geek2me.